All right, I got it. Do it. All right, guys, we're going to be talking to Matt. Matt's been here 6 months. He's a self-professed digital nomad. We're going to be getting into his story in a minute. Hey, guys, I'm Michael Lown for TravelCostaRicaNow.com. TravelCostaRicaNow.com is a travel agency, so go to TravelCostaRicaNow.com. Fill out the 4-minute form. You'll be that much closer to the vacation of a lifetime. We're like you and you, having best friends who live in Costa Rica, who know Costa Rica, totally hooking up your Costa Rica vacation, man. I'd appreciate a subscribe, but YouTube doesn't care if you subscribe. You've got to hit the notification bell if you want to keep updated with these videos, things like our interviews, our travel tips, the new entry requirements. They change every other week. So if you want to be notified, you got to hit that notification bell. All right, man, let's do it. Now, the reason I like doing these videos is because I know you watch these and you go, hey, man, I could be this Matt guy. I could be this Matt guy, and you could be, but I'm not trying to get you down to Costa Rica per se. I'm just trying to get you thinking about maybe stepping up a life. All right, Matt, thank you so much for talking to us. We're going to get right into it. I was right. You've been down here 6 months.
Yes,
right?
6 months.
And let's go pre-Costa Rica, because you kind of came down here during COVID, right?
A little bit before that. I was here 2 years ago, or just the year before COVID.
Vacationing.
Yep, vacationing for 10 days. Fell in love with the country, so I decided I wanted to come back. So this summer I came back in June.
Okay. Well, let's back that up a little bit. So what was going on, like let's say in your life or your mind, you know, pre coming down here? Right. Obviously, when you make a big step, moving to another country, right. I think it might have been a thought, you know, before.
Sure, so. I've been thinking about it for a long time. So I was in Alaska teaching in a remote village in Mountain Village, Alaska. It was a great opportunity and a great experience. And I was in my 23rd year of teaching. And I'd always had a passion to write and follow some other projects, screenwriting and book writing that I've always wanted to do. And when I came down here this summer, I was thinking, do I want to teach another year? Do I want to keep teaching, or do I want to take a chance? I'm 52. I thought maybe it's time to take a chance.
52?
52.
Damn, you're aging well. Good Lord.
I don't know.
I do like 42.
That's good. I'll take it.
Must be that Alaska lifestyle.
Yeah, Alaska water. It's good. So I just decided now's the time, and I'll take a chance. And I had a good run with teaching. It was a wonderful 23 years, and I just thought life is short, and I wanted to pursue the writing. So I made the decision to pull the plug. I flew back to Alaska, sold everything, came back with 3 suitcases, and here I am.
Was it kind of like, you know, they call it, like you had been thinking about it, but it was kind of like, you know, I like that phrase they say, gradually, then suddenly. Like, you know what I mean? Like how you're thinking about, but then when you actually made the snap decision, it was kind of quick in a sense. So it's kind of like that?
Yeah. I was sitting here, I was actually staring up at the volcano, and I was just thinking about teaching, thinking about writing. I thought, I've got to do this, and so now is the time, and so that's when I...
Now, how did you land in our town of Fortuna? Well, you had been around Costa Rica before, like prior. Had you traveled around in vacation time? Or?
The vacation time, the only place I was Playa Hermosa, a little bit in Jaco, and then when I came back here, I rented an Airbnb in Santa Ana for 2 months, and I decided I don't want to sit here for 2 months. I want to travel, so I traveled to a number of different places, and La Fortuna was one of my travels. And at that point, I ended up meeting Bob McIntosh, who is the owner of this Airbnb.
You know, just real quick, so for you, those of you who keep track, we actually made a video about this place as in referencing kind of a digital nomad concept video we did maybe about 6 months ago. I'm not sure, but just kind of a coincidence in a sense.
It is. So that led me to Bob, and then we sat down, and he said, you know, if you ever want a place to stay, this is an opportunity. So that's where I kind of started mapping out what I wanted to do, and I think this can really work. So I started doing some research and figuring out what might be good options, and it was a good option.
So with Bob, I'm sorry, I guess I missed that. So you talked to him prior to coming down here, or you met him while you were here? And do you manage this place? Do you have any, like, are you paying rent, or are you helping him out in other ways where you get, you know what I mean?
Both. So paying rent to Bob, but also I help run the property, take care of the pool, help out when he's gone with clients who come in and different things like that. So it does help with rent. But
I would like to make that point, because people are always asking, you know, I want a house sit. You know, they have sites for house sitting and stuff, and those are good. But really, you find things kind of how you do. It's usually a lot more organic how people
think so, too.
get connected.
Yes.
You know, people
Yes.
want this, oh, I want to go on the internet and house sit in here. Yeah, you might get lucky, but what you really do is you go to the place you might be interested in,
Right.
the town, you start talking to people, and lo and behold, someone goes, hey man, I leave my place a lot, I need some help, and
Exactly.
you know, I think if more people trusted that would happen,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Because a lot of people go, well, that's a little risky, isn't it?
Right.
But so you weren't really planning on
No, I
kind of
haven't.
going like that. You were just going to rent a place and maybe
Exactly,
live there.
and I went to a few different towns. La Fortuna, like I said, was one of those, and I happened to fall in love with La Fortuna. And there are a lot of places that I haven't been yet, and I know there are a lot of other good opportunities, but this happened to be a good fit for me, so I decided to stick around here.
So you call yourself, you know, it does sound, I don't want to say romantic, but kind of romantic. I'm a digital nomad. I
Right.
travel around.
Right.
I mean, are you a digital nomad in the very definition of the word, or you just kind of say that?
Oh no, I am. So as long as there's good internet and a place to sit down with your computer, then that works for me. So, and I think that's the lure and the excitement for a lot of people, is that now they can have the opportunity to take their work around the world as long as there's good internet and a good place to do their work and connect to other people. You can go anywhere, and so this again was a good fit for me.
Right. So, are you doing what you thought you would be doing?
Yes.
So
yes.
it's working out, whatever
Yes.
you're doing.
Yes.
I do want to talk real quick about, okay, let's just stay out of this for a second.
Sure.
I'm an avid reader. I've been an avid reader for a long time. I have written things, and I've tried, but whoever God is, he just gave me enough to know that I'm not that good. I've read Matt's stuff. He made a good decision to pursue his writing, I believe. You know, we're going to talk about your site or your stuff in a minute, but I just want to let them know,
Thank you.
when he says he's writing, he's writing. I've read it. It's very good, which makes me even feel worse about myself, but thanks for that.
No.
So, are you going to stay in for tuna?
I am going to stay. That's another thing. You got to sit down and you have to decide. You kind of have to look in the future a little bit. You know, you have to come down and immerse yourself in it and take some time to. For example, with La Fortuna, I wanted to immerse myself in the community. So every day I go for a walk and you get to know the businesses and the people and the neighbors and things like that. And I think that's part of the experience. As much as you put into it, you're going to get out of it. So I wanted to make sure that I really made La Fortuna part of my everyday and make it a place that I really wanted to live and be.
So you're meeting people, doing
Yes.
things and
Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
So, is Costa Rica, now you've been down here before, but I think we all know that a vacation is different than living here.
Okay, right.
So yes, what you're doing is working out, but what's your view on Costa Rica? Is it going, you know, kind of as planned? You know, are you, I don't know, living the pura vida, or are there some things you've been surprised about, or pleasantly surprised, or maybe even some things that were like, wow, I wasn't expecting that?
Mhm. My experience so far has been that, again, I try to get out and meet people and go places. So what I've learned is that travel is very simple. The bus system here is incredible. You can go to a lot of different places. To get Ubers or taxis or other services is great, so there's the opportunity to go if you want to get outside of your town. I found that probably the one challenge I found is learning the language, and that depends on every different person.
How's that going?
It's going good. It's getting better. It's getting better.
So do you just to hit that for a second, do you understand Spanish better, or do you speak it better? Because a lot of people think if they learn a couple phrases, that doesn't mean you can understand what somebody says back to you. So what's your better?
My position is that I can read it really well. I can understand most of what people are saying as long as it's not too quick. But for me to think of the words that I want to say takes a little bit more time to come out. But it's getting better, and people, oh, pretty good.
Well, you just have 3 beers and you solve that problem. You just start
right.
rambling, right?
A little louder comes out. So yeah, so that's been the only real challenge, but that's getting better. And again, just getting out there every day and walking. And another thing that I do, which has really helped, is that I've taken 2 or 3 days a week where I go to different restaurants and I'll have lunch and I'll sit for 4 or 5 hours and write and work in the different restaurants around town. And at night too, the Wi-Fi in the restaurants is excellent, and then you get to know the waiters and the waitresses. They take really good care of you, so it's been a really good fit for me.
So anything that you kind of like not so keen on?
I'm trying to think really hard about
Well,
that.
let's talk about what everybody talks about. Everyone goes, Costa Rica is expensive. And I actually don't know what you're going to say to this. I know my answer, but what's your answer to the whole Costa Rica's expensive thing?
No, I've thought about that a lot, and what I would tell people that you should consider when you come down here, Costa Rica will be as expensive as you make it to be. So for example, with where I live and all the expenses that I have, I can live very comfortably for about $1,000 a month. But it's not $1,000 a month because I enjoy going out to eat, so you can add an extra $200 or $300
But that's just,
a month.
yeah, that's just like saying I spend 1,000, but I mean, it's not like I can only spend 1,000.
Right,
You obviously
right.
have other money to
Right.
spend if you want, but
Right.
it is very easy, nice to get in that simple life though, right?
Right.
Because I do the same.
And you mentioned that before, the pure Vita lifestyle. And I tell my family and my friends that I'm trying to live a very simple life, the pure Vita life, and it's for me that's been a good fit, and I think a lot of people might be looking for that. But again, with the expenses, it's as much as you want it to be. You can live a more extravagant life, and it'll be a little more expensive, or you can live very simply and buy your food and make your own food, and once in a while go out. So I think that's completely up to the person who's coming down.
Did you get any pushback from family? Did they go, man, Matt, what are you
No,
doing?
no.
Matt? Oh, well, you were in Alaska. Now, is that where you're originally from?
Originally from Wisconsin.
Oh, so you
Left
didn't
side.
have family in Alaska. You went there for other,
Correct.
more adventures.
Right,
Right.
right,
Okay.
right. So most of my family's in Wisconsin, and my kids are 100% behind me. When can we come down? When can we come down is the big question. So they're very excited for me and love hearing about all the adventures, including my friends too. They're very supportive of that.
So, how long? What's the future? What do you? Okay, no. Let me go back for a minute. So, we talk about digital nomad, and some people may know this, and a lot of people don't. You know, Costa Rica's trying to make that a residency.
Right.
What's the word? Trying to make it a thing to where you can get your residency
Right,
for a
right.
year or even two,
Right.
being a digital nomad. Are you going to pursue that, or do you have your residency looking out for it, or are you just doing a perpetual tourism thing?
I've thought about that too. Right now, a good fit for me is the perpetual tourist because it gives me the opportunity to go see my family and my kids every 90 days. There are other simple ways to do it, just to hop into Nicaragua, as you guys have talked about, or to go to Panama and stay there for a day or two, or even come back the same day. For now, for right now, a good fit for me is the perpetual tourist. And I think as I get more comfortable here, I'll start pursuing the residency. But again, I think that's up to each individual. But for me, a good fit right now is being able to travel, go back and see my family and friends. The perpetual tourist is a good fit for
Well,
90 days.
I'm glad you answered it like that, so now that I can say this. If you're thinking about being a digital nomad to get your residency down in Costa Rica, you're a fool. And the reason you are is, because they just haven't thought, no, not you. They haven't thought it through with how much it costs to do that. They throw in some numbers around. You have to prove $5,000. You've got to have medical insurance. It's like, but it's for a year, but you can re-up it. Well, you can just go to Nicaragua. Yeah, it might be a little. Some people, we like doing that every
I do
3
too.
months. We thought it was cool. People go, well, you have to leave it. Yeah, we go up there and drink rum for lunch and come home by dinner. We had bought some toothpaste and all the stuff.
Right.
So to us it's good, but the digital nomad thing, unless you literally don't know anything about Costa Rica and you said, well, I'll just try to get my residency and be a digital nomad, and they obviously already have big money, or then they just don't care, but it really makes no sense the way it's written now.
Right.
It just doesn't make sense.
And you've talked about it before too. I think it's important that people come down and they get their feet wet and they see if this is a good fit for them, because it might not be. I mean, I'm 52 and did this, and I think there are a lot of people who are in their 20s or 30s or maybe on the fence with their careers who are thinking, hey, maybe I should do that. And I think it's important that they come down and stay for 2 to 3 months and see if you really like this. And if it is, then give it a little bit more time and see if it's a good fit. And that's where I agree. And I think the perpetual tourism is a great option for people to get used to the country and see if they like it.
Yeah, and you could literally leave. You're renting, kind of, and you could literally leave if you got upset and just, this is not for me. You could be out of here in
Right.
a couple days. You know, to me, what's interesting about your story, because it hits a nerve with me, is you're like Ernest Hemingway, man. You know what I mean? You came down here because there's a million people that go, man, when I have the time, when I got my own time, I'm gonna write the big novel. I'm gonna paint the picture. I'm gonna paint. They come down here, and they got too much time and can't handle it and end up doing nothing.
Right.
But you're writing. You're doing stuff. You're like, I mean, it's kind of cool, right?
Right. And I think people have to think about that too, is that where are you in your life? Now, I happen to be in a place where both my kids are grown, they're moved on, and I was in a place where I was on my own. So for me, it was a comfortable move, and maybe not everybody's in that situation, but people should sit down and kind of evaluate, is this a good place for me to pick up and go, and can I give it a try? And that's what they should look at.
Now, I guess we should say, because it kind of makes it, you are single, right?
Mhm.
You are single? Are you pursuing?
Not at the time. My writing is my...
My writing is my wife.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So you're kind of, you're playing it by ear, but I mean, what would be options if you said, well, Costa Rica's been fun, like it, it's been cool. Would you go back to Alaska? Would you try another country? Would you, you know what I mean?
There's a lot of people sitting on the edge of their seats right now. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Honestly, I don't have an answer for that.
Because you're happy, just...
I am very happy doing this, and I really think I found my fit in my life. And I did love teaching, I really did, but I love writing just as much. And so this is something I really want to pursue and make happen and be successful. So I'm not really... I don't have a plan B, because plan A is what I'm focused on.
Do you feel like maybe in your unconscious, the big reason you came down here is almost to force yourself to write? You know what I mean? I don't mean that.
No, that's a good way to look at it.
Like you kind of went, you know, I'm gonna get down there, and I said I'm gonna write, and you probably always wrote because you're a good writer.
I did. Well, thank you.
Did you always write?
I did. I think.
But I mean, obviously, it's got to be a little bit more than normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're writing.
Yes.
So
yeah, books and screenplays. So it's very intense, and you know, you can spend a good 3, 4, or 5 hours a day just on a computer and writing.
What's your mindset about on like what you're writing? I don't know if I can say this right. Because like, you know, we go to Burning Man, and you know, all the art projects, it's not about the finished product. It's actually about making the art.
The process.
That's why a lot of times, the process is why they burn it. So obviously you would love somebody to pick up a screenplay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it super upsetting that it doesn't go that way? Are you enjoying the actual writing, or does it need to sell? You know what I mean?
That's a good question. No, not upsetting. I've come to a place in my life where you kind of have to harden yourself to the... People are going to not like your writing because you breathe in and out, and because you are. So there are going to be those people out there. But 7 billion people in the world, there's going to be a group of people who are going to like what you write. And so you just have that mind. You have to have that mindset when you sit down. And you come up with ideas throughout your life that you can take and turn into stories, and there's always a good story that somebody wants to hear. And so I'm putting all my chips on that there are going to be people out there who are going to like what I'm writing, and it'll touch somebody. There are some books that I write for couples, and then some for dramatic series.
Yeah, your love book, that thing was interesting. I think that has a lot of potential, because I thought it could be, you know, hey, I don't know what to write and tell my wife, but those little paragraphs, those little things were like, you could put it as a single card in a way. I don't know how to explain.
And I'm hoping that it'll touch some people out there. Honestly,
anyway, just so
yeah,
I don't like to just explain that real quick, what that book is, so that comment I made just makes sense.
Oh, sure. It's a book called Moments, Love, and Relationships, and it's just they're one-pagers of anything you could imagine doing with your significant other. Taking walks, going to movies, couch time, anything you could think of, and how to really love deeply with that. And then the other page, there are 2 compliments that you could say to someone.
Right.
So I'm just hoping that it'll touch some couples, help them to, you know, love deeper. Or help their relationships
it's good. I read it. It's good stuff. So So what I was going to say is, so don't you feel like you have to write? I mean, even if like there was no finale, or there's no publisher that wants it, don't you think you still would have to write?
I do. It's therapeutic for me, and I've had some people here, and even my family has asked. I say this isn't a job because I love it, and everybody hopes that they can find something like that where you don't even call it a job because you love what you're doing. I truly love writing, and so for me, it's a perfect fit, and it's therapeutic. And then when you go, you know, to a restaurant, you can do some writing. If you get a little writer's block, then you watch people for a little bit, and then you get back to your story, or maybe somebody becomes a character, and then you can write about them. So.
You know, I think you got a great little situation here. It's a really nice setup, you know. You got a cute little...
Right, yeah, good place to write. And then if I want to get away from this a little bit, there's...
But would you give anybody any advice? You know, you're doing it, you're living your I don't know, your passion, your life, you made the jump. Right. Is there any advice that you would give people like that are thinking the same, that are watching this? Like what I was saying before, I'm Matt. It may not be writing. It could be anything, right? It could be anything.
Exactly. So again, even if you're not, or anything that you have, it's such an incredible time with social media and websites like Fiverr or Upwork is another one I can think of, where you can sell your services, and you can do that from anywhere in the world. So if there's someone who's kind of sitting on the edge of, do I want to keep working for my corporate job? And I'm not telling anybody to quit their jobs, but if you're at a place where you think, you know what, I'd really like to branch out on my own and I can do this, it's a good opportunity, and I really think people should research it and take the chance to see if it can work for them, if it's a good fit for them.
This is going to be a terrible question. I should have asked it a lot sooner, but I only asked this question to almost everybody because I think it can change answers. Are you independently wealthy?
I'm comfortable.
Well, comfortable. I don't mean to pry. I'm just saying because some people are going, well, I don't know. I just can't take that leap because X amount of dollars, and it does change the answers. We have a friend that won the lottery that lives down here.
Okay.
Obviously, she can. Come on down. It's easy, and you can live a life. But I mean, you know what I mean. So
right.
I think it depends, because some people watch this and go, well, comfortable is good.
Wow.
What if you weren't so comfortable? Okay. Would you still make that leap, or would you go, well, I better start? I know that's a hypothetical because you don't have to do that, but I'm just wondering if you would thought the same, like, I got a little bit of money, I think I can live down there. It might be a little touch and go.
Well, it's a good question. It's a good question. Well, if this helps people, I didn't come down with a whole lot of money. I came down with very little, to be honest with you. So I knew coming down here after kind of researching, watching videos, talking to other people, that you could live very comfortably here on a very small amount if you chose to. And so I thought, you know what, with this amount of money that I had, I can do that, and then I'll figure out where I'm going to go from the next steps there. So I think even if somebody doesn't have a huge chunk of money, if you can get yourself to live the Pura Vida life and live a simple life, that you can make your way up to bigger things.
Yeah, I think that's the better answer.
I think it's worth taking a chance.
I think it's a better answer because you really can. People, it's all over the internet. Expensive, expensive, expensive. Well, that's because you're trying to replicate your life you're living in the United States.
Right.
If you are really want to live a simple life, you can do it. So it's kind of that wants versus needs thing. What do you need? What do you want? When you just kind of make it just a needs, you'd be surprised how cheap you can live and still go out to restaurants every night and meet, do things.
Right.
So I like that answer better. So I think I don't want to scare away people that, I'm not going to make money.
No, I think even if somebody has a smaller chunk of change, if they research things well, budget well, they can make it work here.
Yeah, even the digital nomad stuff. I mean, we have a ton of friends. A lot of people think digital nomad work. I mean, you work on the computer, but some people are talking about selling solar panels, for a company, and they make $10 an hour, which goes a lot longer here than would in the United States. So we have a lot of friends that do all that. So
again, if you have good internet and a place to sit and concentrate, you can do almost anything, I think.
Besides the work aspects, what would you say as far as entertainment in a small little jungle town where you're not full of movie theaters and bowling alleys and mini golfs and stuff? How much entertainment is there available for people, or would you more say they got to create their own entertainment?
It's a little bit of both of that, I think, and again, I think it's as much as a person chooses to immerse themselves. There are tons of things to do around here with zip lining and four-wheeling and the waterfalls and horseback riding. I could go on and on. So there are tons of beautiful opportunities and a beautiful area to do those things. Again, I think it's up to the person to get themselves out of wherever they are and experience it. And no, you don't have the movie theaters. You can watch in your apartment, and there are so many other things you can do. It's up to you.
No, it's meeting friends. It's all kinds of stuff. It's growing a little garden. It's reading a book all those things that in the United States, you're on the hamster wheel to some degree, even when you don't think you are. You're task. Here it's a more slowed down approach. Let's go out with friends, have a couple beers. I got to go grow my carrots. I have a little plot over here. Let me walk around and enjoy the jungle. Let me go to the waterfall and watch all the locals do double flips off the rocks. There is plenty to do, and it's actually not even all money that way.
No, and it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. There are a lot of things to do for very inexpensive amounts.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear. I'm not trying to get anybody to. I'm not plugging Costa Rica at all because maybe Panama's your Costa Rica or your China. I don't know, wherever. So
you're from Alaska. How do our winters compare to your Alaskan winters?
I don't want to make anybody feel bad. I loved it in Alaska. I did. It was beautiful. It's cold. I mean, for 5-6 months a year. So obviously here the difference is it rains a little bit more.
I'm a little scared that you're wearing this
I
during
don't know,
this
I
weather.
just-
What's going on here?
This is my walking
Okay,
walking
yeah,
sweatshirt,
right.
so I got this on.
Matt, anything else? You know, like if you want to plug, you know, like if somebody can follow you, whether it's Instagram, whether it's you have a website, we'll put it in the description, but you can say it as well, and you can say what's on your, you know, what you're doing on your website. If people want to follow you or
Sure,
have
it's-
questions for you, whatever.
Sure, it's MatthewMarkNichols.com. The spelling will be in there, and it's just kind of a broad spectrum of everything that I'm doing, my writing, acting, other things that I've done, and freelance writing that I do, so a lot of different things that people could.
All right. Well, we'll
Yeah,
put
thank you.
we'll put all whatever in the description as well. Like if you're on Insta, whatever you're on, we'll try to get that in there. I can't think of anything. I'll probably turn off this camera and think of a few more questions. But thanks, Matt.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
We'll
No, it's great
we'll
being
probably do a little follow up on
All
this.
right,
If you're
sounds
still
good. I'll be
around,
happy
you're
to.
still
I
around.
will be.
Now, if you're not around in 6 months, I will actually do a video about you. Go, that mother, he freaking left 2 days after that video.
Not gonna happen, not gonna happen.
No, I know. Hey guys, I'm Michael Allen, TravelCostaRicanNow.com. Hey man, things are gonna pop up. Always do your homework and research before living or traveling anywhere. And I'm gonna put my videos up against anybody's. All right, ciao.